for someone who keenly listened to the presidents or the presidential candidates at the time, talk, what would you make of the economic policy of, the current president?
Okay, I thought you were going to ask me how did I rate them.
No. I want us to look at
in terms of for me that time when they were going around and talking, I knew that nobody was communicating to us, because what everybody was saying was what I was going to do. No, nobody told us how you will move revenue from point A to point B in order to meet expenditure that is at point B. Are you getting my point?
Yes, I am.
So, if you are not telling us what you are going to do to expand income, the campaign in Nigeria is who can do research and find out more beautiful things you will promise the people. And I ask, is it difficult to remember what to promise? If I look at anybody, I look at your hair, whatever is lacking in your hair, I write it down. What is lacking in your tie, I write it down. But I finish writing from head to toe. Have I not got a very long list of what I will promise you?
Of course.
And when I say the two will look very striking, I look intelligent. I don't regard it as intelligence when you dramatize my problem. Where I begin to count intelligence is when each problem you mention, you tell me how, not the what. The how, they don't tell us how. Because either they don't have how, or the how they have may not be realistic. So that was what I noticed. And the present leadership, what I know is that when they now take over the instruments of power, they usually have the right to assemble experts. So we begin to learn on the job. When you now bring all the experts.
So are you saying that where we are is the current administration learning on the job?
I will not using subsidy announcement to learn now. I hope after the crisis, all arms of government are now fighting to correct it. Are you getting my point?
Yes,
everybody is now struggling, fighting to correct it. I remember your first word. The word you use here now is that subsidy to start, which means by policy communication, how you perceive it, your understanding is that subsidy will end, then subsidy will end, and then the era of no subsidy will kick in, right? That's your thinking, and that's the way you understood it. Now, but because I bought fuel 511 naira now, less than 30 minutes ago, in my perception, my understanding is that subsidy has ended. So, in policy communication, it has to be perfect. That's to say, the Nigerians by now, during the policy communication, Nigerians would have known the day subsidy will end. Even if it's going to be next tomorrow, the policy communication would have said subsidy is to end, it will end so day. We anticipate problem A, problem B, problem C. And look at the measure we are bringing for each problem, right? This is what we expect the citizens to do. This is what we expect these people to do. So that the whole is a war. All of us will enter the war together. But we are entering this war divided. Because if kids are taken, we will see this subsidy as they versus us, which is dangerous. But if we see it as we, all of us, including the president, versus the evil called subsidy. Subsidy, as I have always said, removing this subsidy on 29, we are exactly 12 years late.
Is it even possible to insulate River State from the economic gloom?
You have asked like an economist too. Is it even possible?
All right.
When you have an economy that is one economy, you can't see any, except you read the signboard. You don't see any boundary between rivers and any other state. It's only signboard. The grass will look the same way, and all of that. So, but an economic zone is demarcated by economic policies, marking that place out, not because of how the grass looks. So, to insulate is difficult because influx about 10 years ago, an organization did a research on how many vehicles enter Port Harcourt and how many vehicles leave, and how many people each vehicle is likely to carry, to see whether they can look at influx and immigration, because everything is not between Nigeria and outside Nigeria. There is also need to study what's happening between one state and another, how people are coming. All the people we see on the road begging are they Rivers indigenes? So somebody can carry worms or fleas into your state and make your state a dirty state. Somebody can eat from his car and throw it out of the window, and you say Port Harcourt people are dirty, right? You have not traced the fact that whether the person is a Port Harcourt person, is an indigene or not. So which means that what people do will impinge on your image. Therefore, is it possible? Not too possible. The thing that Rivers State should struggle for, and which the new budget, the new policy is trying to look at, as I saw it, is if your zone is a consumer zone, because after all said and done, is the interaction of in and out of money. What if you earn 25 billion in a month? Where do you spend that 25 billion on? What do you spend? And
that's what I'm asking. Because we don't have enough time.
What do you spend it on?
Yeah.
If what you spend on originate from outside, it means they'll be waiting like a dog waiting for the bone to drop. Immediately the money drops, it soars away. So if you have an economy that will make sure that most things that people eat in the state come from the state, most things that people wear come from the state, most drugs that people take, if you begin to see how you plow your resources in such a way that it will boost local production, so that the money flying away, capital flight, will not be too anemic. It will help. But if you're talking about this fuel subsidy now, the short wins could be if the policy had been, if the National Council had held, they would have mobilized the state to say, in your state, begin to do this. What would have emerged would have been each state through a fund to go and roll out 100 buses. So that while we are crying, I hope I don't know whether you have children. When you are preparing your child from one side, you give him palliative from the other side. So as we will still be insulting the government too.
Yeah.
But all the workers, when they close, the vehicles will take them to major bus stops, so that their spending will be small. So will not even spend again. So there are a lot of palliatives that states would have rolled out if this thing had been communicated properly, and the states were mobilized, and NPC mobilized, everybody mobilized. So it's like now Operation Save Your State.